Hello there, Crackbook. It is the 3rd of September, and it is officially the day that UK government are due back to school. I'm just going to give a chance to people who... well, that's interesting. One of my tags has just turned into a number. I don't know what that is. So for those who have been here since 2010, when I first started speaking out on social media with Challenge Britain and also my own personal change with Benefit Britain, namaste and thank you for still being here. For those who got involved in 2013 after I broke my gag and spoke out about the unlawful and unnecessary removal of Aaron and Faith that resulted in a forced adoption against my consent, that legally, under the evidence that I have, can be granted as state kidnap. Unfortunately, I believed that this was a miscarriage of justice, and it was something that I could resolve very easily through the court process and through appeal process, something that I'm very familiar with because of my Uncle Sam, who served 9 years of a prison sentence for a murder that he didn't commit, and being a child who grew up with Michael Mansfield as my uncle's barrister and Mimi as his solicitor. Obviously, it was something that I understood, but it's something that I understand in the criminal system. Unfortunately, what's going on at the moment is being conducted within the family system, where people are having children taken where there has been no crime committed. These people, such as myself and many families, forced adoption exposed or on Faces of Forced Adoption, which also covers long-term foster care, special guardians, and there's a mass network over at Parent Alienation and Denied Contact. These are all families who have been separated by the family court, by the system that exists to enable and empower and support the people. It's a business, it's a company that exists, that's set up strategically to provide a goal. That goal, hello there XR Islington, how are you guys doing out there? Well done. Islington, your time is coming on something a little bit deeper, mate, because every time I do this research, it keeps coming back to the same place. It keeps coming back to the same areas in London. Every time I do my research, every time I get paperwork, it keeps coming back to Bartle and all that area around London. Now, today, the Gumtree is meant to be back. Today, we are meant to be back to school. Guess what? I feel so much happier knowing I have XR on here, because I'm a mum on my own, and I have 2 children. I have a little baby here asleep next to me, and I have another 1-year-old. So Elijah is 3 and Shiloh is 1. And I choose to live. I don't get to live this life right now, and I'm very frustrated with it because I'm very wrapped in Babylon, systematic rules, regulations. And for somebody like me who's diagnosed as Asperger's, so Greta comes from Autism Women Matter. She was wearing yellow, guys, so she was also part of the Stand Up and Speak Out. And there's lots of other people who have all humbled themselves. This is not about pride. Pride is the hardest sin to beat. We live under a world of blessings and curses, and we sow what we reap. What we give, what we bless, is what we get back. Karma works whether we like it or not. The universe works by natural laws of the universe, whether or not we accept this to be true or not. Whether we believe in the truth will always believe in you, whether you believe it or not. Our world, as we know it right now, is in chaos. Government, actually, it's in quite a bit of strategy, but the strategy is in the people's hands right now and not in Parliament's, and they know this. Hence why the Queen has pulled everybody back, because if I'd had my way today, and Queen and Parliament know this, they know this to be true, they know that it is very easy for somebody of my calibre and mindset and frequency to achieve this. I was going to arrange for Parliament to be daisy chained in today. And the reason that I say daisy chained, so XR, we really need, we're coming to the end of summer. We're entering into autumn. The 23rd of September is the first day of autumn. These days are set by stone. It is set by the sun and the moon. This is what we live by. We live by sunrise and we live by sunset, and all the memories that we achieve within those 24 hours that exist, be it that we sleep or that we live. I live in a place that is council run, and we've got no fucking recycling, right? Everything goes down a bin chute. So basically, the majority of the world population here in the UK, I can't preach and speak for other nations because I've never lived in their systematic ways or their communist ways or their democrat ways, or whatever title you want to give these political legalese, systematic titles and words that they only wanted the lords and the ladies to be educated in. And us mere mortals and peasants and, you know, lower class, darling, and working class and things like that, well, we're not meant to know this information. My little mouse has just moved down to my end video, fuck you. So you can get back up there. Stop moving my mouse down to the end to shut my video down, please. I'm not paranoid. I'm very aware that the police monitor my accounts. They came to my front door after I stated that we were going to daisy chain again at here in Portsmouth, when Donald Trump and all of the heads of states, the Queen and everybody were here on one common ground. It was an open field just with a perimeter around it. There was no roof. They weren't in a building. They could hear everything that we said, and it was the best place to have direct action. Every single political campaigner had the same message told to them. They turned up at my door here where I live, and I will tell you where I live. I'm at 12 Edgbaston in Southsea. The reason that I tell you is because I believe that I'm not safe here right now. And I'm not safe here because I have one door, one exit. And tonight at 6:30, I will be at the Portsmouth Square, and I will be telling people what they need to hear. Why do I feel that I have the right to speak the way that I do? I'm a researcher. I'm an information gatherer. I'm a people watcher. My degree was in psychology. I did everything in science. I've gone way beyond science, way beyond spirituality, way beyond the 33 dimensions that we live in, way beyond everything down from what you all believe to be the Illuminati, the One World Order, Agenda 21, the Freemasons, everything to do with the army, everything to do with the police, everything to do with the structures. What do you want to know? Do you want to know about the Secret Service? Do you want to know about MI5? I've just come back from spending time with David. David Shayler is my children's godfather. You know, David Shayler is the only man in this planet that I trust right now. And David Shayler is an ex-MI5 agent. Yes, he likes to dress up as his alter ego, and you know, but David is a very beautiful man and knows a lot of stuff. And he knows, you know, sit down, have a conversation with David. He will absolutely blow your mind. My mum has a go at me because it only says like 1 or 2 people are watching, but I can actually see that there is lots of people joining. I just want to say hello to, you know, a few people here, because like we're about to go into, and I do believe you're all going to come with me on this, because we have no choice but to do this. There's no way that we, the individuals, can go and flick EastEnders on Coronation Street and Emmerdale and go and, you know, submerge into some alcohol and stick some needles in us and go and block our way. Go and take some other sort of stuff, you know, cereal on the ayahuasca. Or ayahuasca can be a bit funny, but, you know, they've taken, I've never done psychedelics, by the way, but I will do. 100% will I. I have every intentions of going and spending some time and doing proper psychedelics. I mean, clean. I do it for the universities, because the universities are experimenting now, because they've realized, and I'm not here to, I haven't done my research myself. In fact, I've always been anti-drugs. So this is also an opening for me too, because I've always rejected every opportunity this has been given to me. In fact, I've spat. Somebody has given me something in a club and I've literally knocked them flying across the floor. You know, I was the Leah Betts era, so drugs to me was something that was done. Now, we what you got to believe, look, a very, very, very personal lover of mine sent you all a message after we were in London, and it is time for tactics. And the reason that it's time for tactics is they're playing a game, we're not. We are only just coming out of this rabbit hole and what is known to be cognitive dissonance, because we're hearing things that are conflicting with the beliefs that we have in our own mind, and it's creating a battle. And we now need to come out of this and get some clarity. And the only way we're going to get clarity is if we know what the fuck's going on. I believe, what do I believe about Andrew? Okay, the evidence stacks that he denies all knowledge. That to me is a no-go. If we are being led by a bunch of royals, then I want to see transparency. I want to see the truth being told, and I want to be led, not led as in led to a horse to water, but can you drink it? But I want to be inspired. I want to be empowered. I want to be enabled. Princess Diana was inspiring. Princess Diana was an inspiration. Princess Diana grew wherever she went, and she brought love and joy to the people that she was around. And she would have her hands on somebody who was living on the streets, and not even do it from oh, I'm so fucking altruistic and I help the homeless, and okay, that person's got fucking AIDS, but don't fucking touch me. But for the media, what annoys me about, don't forget in 2014, right, I followed all the buses around with who were all the MPs on tours, and we took videos of, I wish I had all my Bambuser accounts. I think Occupy London's got some of my some of my Bamboozers, because as I was bamboozering, there was another guy there from Occupy, and he was filming me when I didn't have any access to any cameras. So from literally 2013 all the way through to, I think it was 2015, I had no phone. In fact, it was anonymous 2014. I think somebody met me in a cafe and went, look, there's a phone, you need a fucking phone on you tonight, so keep that fucking phone on you. And it was a dodgy little old one with no GPS or tracking device, because people just couldn't find me on that night. But I've been in this since 2010. Well, I've been in it a lot longer, but I've been in it publicly since 2010. I suppose I made my 15 minutes of chip paper yesterday's news on the 20th of October 2010, and that's when I went out, because George Osborne was making decisions that were affecting me, that was making me feel like, whoa, hang on a minute, you ain't my dad, come on a minute, you're affecting my life here now. You're like making decisions that are going to change things in my life, that are going to make them even harder. You're going to push me even further in the struggle that I'm having already. And as a single mother at that time, and the father 100% vacated the children, not my two previous, they've always seen their dad every other weekend and twice in the week. And we lived 13 years of me being institutionalized to making sure that my children were at school, and making sure they were at their dads, and living a life where I was fucking off every other weekend, and building communities and things like that, and networking. I'm a great networker. What is amazing about this network, right, is obviously here, just in my crack book alone, and in my public, as people know, so if you haven't seen me for a while, it's because I don't do my lives. This is my profile. This is my profile of who I am, but I do everything out on my public account. But I'm getting smashed out there, fucking smashed. I'm getting hit from, every angle. I'm getting fucking knocked left, right, and centre. I've got my own mother out there doing it, and I've got my stepmother, accidentally liking posts, but actually she's just watching my lives to feed back to my dad. All my family have sort of stepped back, apart from my Aunt Alison, who's probably even sitting on here now, and if I say something and people don't believe me, she usually drops something down and go. She even sat there when I was on Daybreak, and when I come off Daybreak, I fucking cried my eyes out, because I had 3 minutes live media. When you're given 3 minutes, why would anybody want to speak on media for live 3 minutes? Some, because they just want 3 minutes of fame. I ain't here for the fame. I ain't here for the fortune. I'm here for the facts, the truth and the fucking facts. And I've had enough. I've had enough of being somebody who has a psychology degree, who's a coach, who helps people, And when I'm helping people and we're getting to the core of their problems, I am finding way too many people who have been sexually abused in the fucking care system, who will remove children and fucking selves and abandoned by their fucking adopters and foster parents in the system, who've been living on the fucking streets, eating out the fucking garbage tax, right? Kids on the fucking streets. I run Street Rats, right? I have X's, black X's that mark spots, which are safe homes around the UK, right? Dean breaks squats, buildings, things like that. He's been breaking buildings since 1993, yeah, with Spiral Tribe. Dean started on the streets with Reclaim the Streets when he was 17 years old with Spiral Tribe, right? That's where he started his activism life. But you know, before then, he started as a foster care runaway, eating out of fucking garbage trucks, eating out of the backs of shops, stealing fucking spray cans from Halfords so he could leave political messages to people to tell them what fucking idiots and cunts this society is. He's been sending that message for a very, very, very long time. Dean was the final last DJ to ever play at Cardboard City. So we see everything from every angle. My great-grandfather is a lord, okay? We are in an alienated family from the lords. Our bloodline is lords. My grandfather father was a lord and his mother was a maid, so we are an ostracized bloodline, kicked away from the status that they class as the lords. And so is Dean's. You know, Dean's dad's dad was a forced adoption. Guess where from? Lambeth. You know, so everything seems to stem from Lambeth, Vauxhall area of London. Funny that it's not far from Westminster. But everything seems to stem from this, the corruption and not the greed. Look, when people want to make money, right? I today have been to King's Church, where I'm still being denied food bank vouchers, right? And I'm having to, where does this penny go? I'm having to try to explain how I'm funding forced adoption out of money that I don't have and having to sacrifice my life massively. I've made massive sacrifices for this cause. I've lost 5 cars, 5 houses, my children, and living the way that I am now to keep Elijah and Shiloh safe. I don't trust anybody. I've sent Dean a message today, because Dean is home on Friday, but he hurt me with his words last time I saw him. He's been over in Spain for the last three weeks. He was over in France, so don't forget, everything kicked off from France. Now it's going to kick off from Spain. You know, there's a massive, big underground network of people that, you know, Black Bloc have been here for years. You know, Reclaim the Streets have been here for years. It was a network of about people of like 30 years that have been, you know, really battering at it, really fucking going for it. And until the Epstein stuff went in the papers, people weren't willing to believe this. Now, Prince Andrew, is he a trans? Is what we're going to find? Is this the big secret? You know, Prince Andrew is the big secret. Is you just like to dress up in women's clothes. That's the big problem, really, isn't it? Why don't you just come out and admit it? You're just gay, and actually, you're not fucking little girls. You're actually fucking little boys. Probably. Not saying. Not judging. I don't have truth and facts. I'm not there. Prince Andrew has never abused me. Epstein has never abused me. However, I am an ex-escort. I have seen this world from a very, very different side, and I have sucked the cocks of our judges, our elites, and our celebrities for money. And they tell me a lot of stuff during this time. So yes, that's how I put myself through university as a single mother. I have never, ever, 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 not ever been open about it. When you are come from foster care, there is craziness that you will do to survive. And this is the problem here in the UK and around the world. People are barely surviving. People are literally living to survive, where people who are spending hundreds of pounds on breakfasts, where other people in the world are going to food banks. Yes, it's a mindset, and people don't want to hear this. This is all about a mindset. It's about getting balance of the mind. It's about the renewal of your mind. It's about the belief systems that you've been conditioned with and controlled with, because the moment you were born into a hospital. Hallelujah to the people who were home birthed and have lived a free range life. But to the majority of the people, you came into a tag around your ankle and your birth certificate, and straight into your common status in, and your sovereignty was taken away from you. You crowned. I didn't. I was ripped out of my mum's stomach. Unfortunately, I never received my true crowning. But that doesn't mean that I can't help you take yours back. We are sovereign beings. We are free beings. We are here to live. We're not to thrive. We're not here to be rummaging around from yesterday's fucking shit from somebody else, unless it's going to turn into something that someone can use. I'm glad things like Free Cycle exist now, because when I had Aaron and Faith, this stuff wasn't there. That stuff wasn't there. I'm glad that these things exist now, but we have to be independent. We cannot be codependent on this system, because this system's going, whether you like it or not. The system that you know and that you have known for since the World War III and everything was recolonized and restructured, they've done it. They've achieved that. These tower blocks will come down. If not, it might be the infrastructures for the techno plates that are going to go in for G5 and turning us into a pilot study of that's what the UK will be. We're a big enough island to do that. Multi-billionaires and millionaires are meeting way above the EU and United Nations. The EU and United Nations can't even touch these people. Look, I've always said, look at the tax pay scale. When you look at how tax works, you'll see 19 grand a year, 32 grand a year, then you become 5 figures, MPs get 60,000 a year. Social entrepreneurs, and I've put in here for a call for all social entrepreneurs to come forward. The reason I say social entrepreneurs is because they're coming from a kind and caring, compassionate heart. Entrepreneurs are driving on greed. Fuck off with your greed. I'm not interested in your greed. You are willing to make money out of the slavery of children. You are willing to make money out of the exploitation and sexual God, watch talking about stuff like this around my kids. They're selling babies, literally. There are unlicensed, unlawful adoption agencies, be it in this country, connecting off. The UK in 2010 actually had to publicly apologise, yet nothing was done about it, for the amount of children from the UK that were shipped off to the States. This stuff's been going on for a long time. Unfortunately, I got caught up right in the middle of it, because all I wanted to do was help people in the benefit system, including myself, because by me helping people in the benefit system, I was getting paid to do that. So I was helping myself, and each person was worth a head, I suppose, for me to enable them to out of that bridge and into self-employment. So please, join Virgin. Don't care what you think about Richard Branson right now, but take the information. Join Step Up, please. He's taken it. He's run with it. Go with it. Hats off to them. They're making shitloads of money out of my ideas, and it's not even my ideas. It's a vision from the Lord, and it's an amalgamation of a lot of people. A lot of people that are trying to teach people the toolbox. If I said to you now, go build that wall, I'm going to test you on building that wall. Well, go build that wall. Well, hang on a minute. I haven't given you any bricks, no sand, no cement. Well, hang on, but cement, you've got to know how to mix it. So, and I haven't given you the tools. So if you don't have that tools, how are you meant to build that wall? And did you know, in order to build a strong wall, you have to put bows in it? And I know this because my dad was a builder, and I put the first bow in Sainsbury's in Farnham when they built it. My dad and my Uncle John and that, were the builders of this area. I've seen, this area of Hampshire build from different point of views, because my dad was massively involved in, people that had learning difficulties who were in institutions. So if you were autistic, you would be I would be in an institution. If I'd been diagnosed as a child, I would have been taken into an institution. I would have gone to the Hmong school, the spastic school. Do you know what I mean? Oh, as everybody called them. you know, and then it went from it went from spastics to handicapped and now stuck in disabled. Fuck off and out away from society, go away, you are obsolete and serve no purpose. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. I serve a purpose. I'm disabled. Yeah, I have a physical condition. I dislocate all my joints. You know, you've all seen it. That's why I struggle out there on the campaign, because if any police try to arrest me, I can't be one of the arrestables. And the reason being, I've got 2 kids. You know, if I become one of the arrestables, my children go into foster care. You know, I don't have a support network that have my kids safe while I go in, do 24 hours and come out and maybe not make it out. It's not because I don't want to do it. It's because I'm keeping my kids safe, mate. What people in XR don't realise is you're just coming on the tracks now, mate. The people who've been banging out and taking direct action for years have had their kids taken. You know, political camp. What were we classed as? Domestic terrorists, you know, people who've been living in squats, you know, people classed as nomadic. They've been having their kids taken for years. People on fracking sites. People have been holding down fracking sites, you know, like for a long time. You know, the hippies, the peace-loving people, kids taken, kids taken, kids taken, kids taken. And people need to accept that there's what I call the newbies is the tail of the turnip. You know, the farmer tried to pull the turnip out, and then he had to call his wife, and then he had to call, you know, his family, and then he had to call, you know, his community in. And it was the little white mice at the end that finally pulled the turnip out. But it wasn't the little white mice that does it, was it? It took the whole team to do it, because the little white mice couldn't have done it by himself, and neither could have the farmer, and neither could have each of the individuals in between. So we got to pull the plug on this together. So today they're holding the streets on. They're actually arguing on why the Queen has suspended it. I'm pushing the Queen to suspend it, because we need to now formalise everybody into positions. We can't have parties where it alienates people. Yes, you can have genre of music and everybody likes to party in different ways, you know, but we're talking about a nation of people here that these people have been responsible for, because they've been making our choices. Because unless you own your own land, unless you have the tools to build your own home, unless you have, you know, the grace to know how to produce your own fruit and veg, unless you can make your own clothing, and as long as that as well, shear the sheep and make the wool and everything, unless you can sustain, like, what do they call them? The Hamish, you know, who live like that, you know, then you are being absolutely drained by the Babylon state, by what was classed as King Richard, I think it was, who came along and took your money off of you and made you pay for the lands and everything. We don't have to live this way. They're raping us. They're raping us of our money, and they're not just raping us of our hard-earned money. They're the ones that are capitalising on it in the first place. They're the ones that are producing it. We don't print money. I put a picture up earlier on of somebody who does print money in another country, and it was very funny. He got a birthday machine to print his own money. But we can produce something between us, community coin. We can create something that we're willing to exchange and barter between us as a community, because there will always need to be an exchange. I'm not paying you to sit here and listen to me, but I hope you're getting something from me. I hope we as a society are actually accepting that this shit's going on, and we can't turn a blind eye to it. It's as simple as that. I can't turn a blind eye to, during this time that I've been doing this, I've had messages from a 6-year-old girl who tells me that she keeps a knife under her bed because her foster father's going to rape her that night, you know, and I've reported this stuff and nobody has ever wanted to listen. I think people are willing to listen now. So I haven't got my red X on now. Obviously, XR stands with a black X. We have to all now go green. And it has to now be the time now to say, you know, Boris Johnson, you have been, you know, elected by your, don't forget, this is only the Houses of Commons, you know, there is somebody above him in the Houses of Lords, and then there is people above them in the Queen. And we have to now say, your game of chess is over. It goes back in the box. and the box goes away, and we're not your pawns anymore. We're not willing to play your game anymore. We're not willing to fund your war anymore. We're not willing to pay for your security anymore. Donald Trump's security here on Portsmouth cost something like £3 million. I'm not willing to pay for that anymore. I'm not willing to pay for them to sit down and play warships and games and battleships. Hello. Oh, 2 seconds. Sorry, we'll have to go in there. Hello. This. Funny enough, guess what Shiloh's picked up? What have you got? He's just woken up, but what have you got? Hey, what have you got in your hand? Shiloh's got a kids car. They're there to protect and serve the people, not to protect the people. Well, to protect the Queen from being overthrown by the people. These are the Queen's army. And we've been blinded for so long. Growing up to be, do you want to be a policeman, firefighter, all these things, all these systematic things. We can serve each other through a community. So if you want to be part of my community and me part of your community, then if you're in the Portsmouth area, I could do a bit of a hand tonight at 6:30. So me and my boys are going to start getting ready, and we're going to head over to the Civic Hall, and we're going to go and meet with a bunch of people. And hopefully, if some of the Portsmouth guys are there, Mark, it'd be great if you could come down and play the guitar. If any of the Fireside guys are around, I'll see you tomorrow night at the Fireside down by the sea. But if any of you guys are around and you want to come and spin some fire and entertain people, and anybody local that wants to come down and serve some food, and if don't hate fill your plate, want to come down, then yeah, let's. And actually, if Mark wants to come and do a piece, that would be absolutely brilliant. In fact, Amber, if you can just message all these people and the Portsmouth Division Yellow Jackets and all the XR guys in Portsmouth, if everybody wants to sort of get down there between 6, 6:15, 6:30. I might sort of come in a little bit later. I want to sort of see how it forms and where everybody goes, and maybe a nice walk on Victoria Park and have a coffee and a chat and form a bit of a network of the families that are going to come out, because it's not necessarily about the message that we're sending them. It's about the network of people and the community that we're building, because we can't depend on these Eton people to understand us common people, and even the Houses of Lords don't understand the common people. So it's up to us, really. It's up to us, so if you do know a mum, even more so, everybody supports the single mum. Well, they don't, but everybody sort of gets the strugglings of a single mum. But actually, as couples, newly couples and couples who don't even get time together and build communities and allow for children to attend more things and be family friendly. We've been divided by children and adults for so long. So let's come under a family banner, because even if you're a single person, you're still a daughter or a son. So you're still part of a family. And yes, they say we're all brothers and sisters in Christ, but I ain't into all this incest stuff and all this hippie free love and things. I'm into monogamy, and but we've got to start really helping each other and really coming together, because it's not so much what we're doing to the planet. We're not taking responsibility for the planet, but the worst thing is, oh shit, we need to help each other. I got to take this, guys. Bye. Hello.
Hi, Kelly. It's Sam from Kings.
Oh, hello there, Sam. How you doing?
Good, thanks. You're right.
I'm good.
Good. Guess what, Kelly? It's good news.
I can get a food bank tomorrow.
I've checked the system. Yes, you can come in tomorrow. Absolutely.
Okay,
Right.
brilliant. Does that mean I need
I've
to go?
checked the system.
Does that mean I need to actually go and get a voucher?
It does, unfortunately.
Okay,
But you
that's
can
fine.
get one from your housing officer, and you can tell them that Food Bank has said you are given one, and that if they have any problems, just to give us a ring. Is that all right?
Okay. Just to check as well, because I'm over at the children's centre from 11 till 4 doing my paperwork, so I'm going to dart out to come and get it from you. So
Okay.
is there a better time to be able to sort of come in and get all our stuff ready? Saves me sitting in there with the children and losing my time on
Yeah, of
paperwork.
course. Generally, towards the end of the afternoon is better. So like kind of after 1, really.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I'll come.
Generally, it's a bit busy to after 1.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, thanks very much for that.
All right.
Excellent.
So you've had 3 in the last 6 months. So you're entitled to 3 more now in the next 6
So
months.
I can now actually access 3 food banks.
Three
Okay.
food bank parcels in the next 6 months.
Right, over 6 months. So that's 3 in 6
so
months.
until next April, basically, you're entitled to 3 in any time between now and April.
Right. Okay. Brilliant.
All right.
Thanks very much.
All right, and basically, when you come in, I'll give you that piece of paper with all the other agencies across the city. You
Brilliant.
can get food from.
Excellent. Thanks very much.
Cool.
Cheers, bye.
See you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.
Now, I probably shouldn't have done that without his permission. However, I'm trying to prove to people that we're in a crisis. Yeah, it is a crisis. Here, particularly in Portsmouth. Portsmouth is a poverty area, mass high poverty area, high benefit area, high working class area. Same with all the way around the UK. Even in the meeting today, they all said this universal credits thing it's caused problems. It's caused suicide. It's caused people out on the streets. It's caused, for even me at the beginning when the handover first started, which was why I went in the media in the first place, because I knew I was going to get kicked off of the cliff, and I actually did have broken wings, and my hidden conditions really are real. And they want to take the scammers out. Well, I wasn't scamming the system. I genuinely am shut down by health and safety. I'm an artist by thing, but I've never stepped into it by as a career. I've always worked in psychology and youth coaching and mentoring and things like that. So I've always been in universities and stuff. So but I said I would go through this for a reason. So there you go. By the way, everybody thinks that this food bank thing is people are just using food banks and in food banks. You can get 3 vouchers that entitle you to 1 food bank. So that's 1 voucher for your family. No veg, no fruit, unless it's been thrown out from the shops. It's all the stuff that people put in them boxes at the shops. So chocolate, sweets, it's not food, it's not living. So one of the main reasons that I wanted to put a call to all the entrepreneurs, there are lords that are giving land up to us peasants at the moment to live on tents and build permaculture villages. They will take it off them, they'll kick these up, they're using them. But we've got to get more and more and more of these places up. I have said to King's Church, you have enough land over there to have built a veg. We planted some apples out here. Elijah was the first person to put the apple tree in down here and some stuff. And it's starting to grow. But there could be more and more and more places like this, especially here in the UK, where we can be paying £3.50 for, even food vouchers. That's all going to go, though. That's not going to be here soon. Don't forget, literally, we exit Brexit. The moment we exit Brexit, we exit trade. Once we have no trade, we have no supplies coming in. Do people understand this? Do people understand what's not happening? We're not preparing for this change. We're resisting this change, and we have to prepare for this change. And this change takes a lot of personal responsibility, a lot of accountability, and a lot of teamwork. A lot of teamwork. And I've said, please, XR people, don't tell people to get rid of, and common law people, don't tell people to get rid of their birth certificates and passports, because when the borders are closed, there's going to be a lot of jaywalking stuff, people who they say shouldn't be here, immigrants as they call them. If you don't have your ID on them, you're going to be put into FEMA camps, into immigration. You know, so please, 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 people need to be understanding the obligations to keep us safe during this totalitarian state that is coming in on us. And we need to be wise about what's going on. We need to be wise about the chipping that is being so bred into our society right now. We need to be wise about the fact that we've got GM crops all through our veg and things like that. We're killing each other. We're not destroying the planet. Mother Earth will kick us off before, she will flood us before we could ever do any real damage. The biggest damage that we're causing is the fracking. That is the biggest damage that we're causing in terms of the planet. Science will show you the direction that we're going in, but it's what we're doing to each other. We're pushing ourselves into a guerrilla warfare. It's going to get to the point where the takers will take. You know, the Queen took, yes, the Queen's family took. We became her pawns, and it's time for us to realise that they don't own us and control us. We, the people, make the decisions for ourselves to live the way that we live. But we do have the natural laws of the universe that will oops upside our heads. If we are going on the wrong path, the Lord has his way of dealing with us. And we have a natural law to love thy neighbour, to love. Love is the law of everything. You know, to all of these things that were given to us, blessed with, we just have no gratitude anymore. And that's what the UK has lost. And that's how we're going to put the great back in it, by humbling ourselves. We've been risen up in pride. We've got pride, all this gay stuff, everybody getting into this. And pride has to have a Humpty Dumpty fall and fall down. And we're not going to have this LGB agenda on our children anymore. My boys are boys. They are boys. They are men. You know, and I'm not going to be doing anything that is going to be polluting their mind to believe that they have any other choice. They're not going to go to school where they can walk through the door and all of a sudden they have a choice between dressing up as a fairy. If my kids want, look, I've got my 23-year-old, I've got pictures of my 23-year-old, you know, playing dress-ups with his aunties of the same age in a pink bloody fairy outfit. It's not what I'm talking about, you know. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about the fact that they are normalising paedophilia. The council agreed last month, I will put the article back up, the council agreed that paedophilia was normal and acceptable. Well, I'm sorry, I don't tolerate this. I am not willing to be here to tolerate. We have to have zero tolerance to this shit that's going on. You know, we can't be pointing the fingers at everybody else when we haven't got our own homes in order. But at the end of the day, we might not be where we want to be, but at least we know the truth now. And they're going to have to tell the truth. And that's not just about the planet. That's about the people and about the policy and, you know, the policing that is about to be delivered into this country. They can't be training. And I see the training. I sit down at the sea behind the gun ranges where the Navy is. I'm on a Navy base, you know. I've seen the ships going off. I know, you know, yes, to a museum, blah, 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 blah. You know, but when you've got children that are telling us we're in a war, mate, you know, we're in a war. We're in the middle of a massive big war on our minds, and we've got to take our minds back. And it is about being positive, but it is about accepting that with life comes trials and tribulations, but it's how we deal with it. I learned today that you know, I'm certainly not an individual case. I am one of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people far worse off than me who are struggling even more. But it's the character that we're building in it. People are taking their lives. I'm still here. People are on the streets. I'm holding on in here. No, my rent has not been covered. Yes, I would like to move on to camp. I really, really would. But I can only move on to a family camp where it is set up for families. And, you know, if we can get a family camp ready, that would be absolutely brilliant. You know, someone helps me try, because I need a van. I desperately need a van. I desperately need a van. I've got to get out there. Dean's back on Friday. You'll see a lot going off in Spain soon. And I don't know, where do you want to be when the borders close? Where do you choose that you want to be? What life do you want to have? This isn't about living to their dogma. This is about us taking choices. This is about us being responsible. This is about us choosing what foods we put into our body, how healthy we want to be, how strong our relationships are, and whether we choose to love or hate. And I can't be bothered with hate. Hate is time consuming. Hate is aggressive and angry and takes away my joy. And I don't want to take away my joy when, like, come on. This is our future generation. This is who we're doing it for. Why are we letting the youth have to speak up? It's up to us adults. We fucked it up. That's what it is. We've got to take responsibility for it. It's not up to them to fix our messes. It's not. What? Really? You want the youth out there cleaning up the devastation in concentration camps because we couldn't get our shit together. We couldn't sort it out. We couldn't get our debts together, so we left it all to the kids. Even if parents die, when you die and you have a will, do you want to leave your children with blessings, or do you want to leave your children with all your messings? Well, I want to leave my children with my legacy, and I certainly don't want to leave them with a home that would be taken from them in debt. We have a right to 1 acre of land as a family, so families need to come together and claim their 1 acre of land and build their areas, and we need to restructure this parliament. We need to put people into positions, but that person needs to be somebody that we the people have chosen, not who parliament have chosen. It's time to basically all come together, all start assembling, and like we were at school, choose that form captain for your community, that champion that's going to keep it together. And we do need a meeting, but those meetings need to be open and transparent and available to all the public, because we have a right to know what roads are going to be done. We have to think like this, because like I've said, I like turning my tap on and having water. I have lived in permaculture things where we've got toilet wastes and stuff like that, and it's great and it's brilliant, but sometimes I do like the comforts of having clean clothes and clean nails and being able to grow nails. And we can have these blessings. We are here to thrive. That's my point. We're not here to live by the dogma of other people and be conditioned and programmed by the media and other people's opinions, and whether somebody says they can or can't do something. We're here to make our own choices and live by them. And no blame, no shame. It's not about blame. We, the collective people, have now got to come together and help people up. Actually put your hand out to somebody who's never ever been offered help before and help people up. If you know that somebody's trying to get a business together, but it might take one piece of equipment that you've got sitting in your cupboard that you don't really know, bless them with it. Let's have a big swap shop and make sure that everybody's got their needs. And some people just need a lot of love. People have been suppressing with alcohol, and I'm not just talking about the people on the streets. I'm talking about the people who come home from work and down 1, 2, 3 bottles of red wine and think this is not an issue. That this is socially acceptable. Things have become socially acceptable that should not be socially acceptable. And it's not because I'm a prude. It's not about me being a prude. It's about the fact that I think as a society, we've gone too far. When women burnt the bras, they went too far. When feminism, it went too far. And we've lost family. We've lost family values. It was deliberate, but we can take that back. And no, we're not going to always get on with anyone in our family, but we have other communities and families that we can give a hand and stop gossiping. If the person isn't there to talk about them and you can't say it to their face, then you shouldn't be saying it at all. It's as simple as that. And if you don't know the truth, then say that. Just say, this is my opinion. And stop sharing shit out on Crackbook that is false information. Check your facts, check the fictions, and stop fear-mongering people. Because, yes, we have to, like I said, you know, if there's a fire in the kitchen, you'll be glad that someone's shouting fire, fire, because otherwise you're going to get burnt, you know. So we've had that. People aren't necessarily believing it. So we have to be the change now. And we need you social entrepreneurs to come into the benefit system and start teaching people what I was trying to teach people from Success Resources, because the 1% didn't want us to know this information, which is why they took my kids in the first place and why they didn't want me continuing with what I was continuing. I haven't killed myself. I am still here. I have met a very beautiful man, and I have had 2 children, and I do hope we get married next year. We're getting a lot of turbulence, a lot of people causing shit. It's causing mass problems with us. I'm a narky cow sometimes, and you know, I'm dealing with trauma. They took my kids. I'm trying to deal with coming back into reality, you know. And blessings and thank you to everybody who's held the fort since I spoke out. You know, we've created something very beautiful, you know, from the wake ups to, you know, everybody in Wales, and we lost one of our guys, you know, this year, who then, you know, started XR Wales. You know, that comes from Wake Up Wales. That you know, that all came from, you know, a mum breaking her gag on the streets, and a homeless kitchen, you know, was set up, and that homeless kitchen in London grew to, which funny enough, even though me and Dean hadn't met, we were both working back to back for about 3 months or so before. And he was the one that broke the building in London, and I was the one that was there to hold the fort and make sure that we then got them out in Manchester and, you know, Liverpool and Leeds. In fact, everybody from different things. Like, we've all got different values and beliefs, and we've all got different reasons that we're doing this. But I think we all know the same thing, that something hasn't been right for a long time, and we've all been aware of it. We just haven't had the balls to step out by ourselves and take back our power. But as a collective, we can, because we can support each other and we can come together. And it's nearly the end of summer, and I really, really think it's time we had a celebration. So I really, really, really think that for the first day of autumn or the last day of summer, that we should gather everybody together, bring everybody together, be it that we're all on our own individual parks, or be it that we all come together at one place. But because we're around the world, I would literally start with our own community first. So start with your own door, to your own neighbour, to your own community, out to your own city, to your own council, to your own, you know, sort of thing. And maybe the core people of all of that are instrumentals in making sure people come together, can all come together for one big thing. And, you know, why can't we do it as fundraisers? Why can't we start raising money now? Because together we could put it all in one pot and distribute it evenly between us all. Do you know what I mean? And we can all be prosperous, and we can all invest with each other and just make sure that we can just keep that surplus going. And I think that's a really good idea. So I hope you do too. So let's try and get all of the churches to open 24/7. It's coming into winter now. There's no reason for anyone to be out in the streets. If the church doors were open, if the churches were serving the people, then we wouldn't need Babylon, would we? But Jesus was, you know, nailed to the cross, mate. So he didn't actually fulfill turning over the table temples, and we've still been under that governance even since Jesus came. Many naturopaths have been hung as witches, and, you know, many babies have been killed because they might be the prodigal son, and they're still breaking down families now because they know that they are not the natural Jesus bloodline. They know that they stole, you know, this country and this world. They know that they cut people's heads off and killed people to occupy this land, and they know we know. So it's time to tell the truth and admit that they don't deserve that crown on their head, that I don't want to be led by a woman. I want to be led by a male leader, and that will be my husband, and if not my husband, my father. So either now I need to return to my father,
or Dean has to marry me because I'm in a void of no man's land. Am I a single mum? Am I not a single mum? Am I in a relationship? Am I not? That's no good. So I either need to go back to my dad and be under my dad's wing, or Dean steps up and we get engaged and we get married. It's as simple as that. He's my king. So, and shit's got to stop. You know, things have got to change. We've all got to heal. And the only way we can heal is with lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of love. You know, lots of love. So, you know, let's make these final stands. Let's make, you know, coming through September, this isn't about attacking them. This is about saying, look, you've got bills to pay too. You've got a home to put over your roof too. You've got children to feed too. You want a social life too. You know, you have to abide by these rules and laws too. You know, this is about saying we have to come together as a collective of our whole Great Britain, you know, our UK, and start coming together and going, well, actually, we have a bit of a problem that we're sending children to school 3-4 miles where people without cars are travelling. And, you know, the maritime law said we should have free travel. So why can't we have free travel? And, you know, we need to talk about our passports, because when the EU comes, you know, we need to be able to free travel between other nations and countries. And we need to talk about this. If we haven't got all of the veg gardens, then we need to know what's going on with farms, and we need to go and support our local farmers. And this is the time now to really, really go and support our farmers, because our farmers are being forced into producing for the GM crops. And I know this because my 19-year-old son is at university doing exactly that right now. We need to support our farmers and buy from our local farmers. £3.50 a box. I'm suggesting it to everybody. Minimal box of, you know, basic stuff starting at £3.50 and up. And doing it from a permaculture point of view, genuine natural foods, you know, what they label as organic, and put an extra price on it and wrap it up in even more paper, plastics that we don't even want. And please support Portsmouth No Plastics shop that is now officially about to open, or has opened. I'm not 100% sure. But at the end of the day, it's going to be distributed in plastic. And we have to open these. We have to open these. We can't be ignorant anymore. We can't bury our heads and say this is not our responsibility anymore, because it is. My children want to go out and play, and they can't. They're not safe to do so. It's not safe to just allow for children to just go off and be. And it's not even safe now to send your kids to school, and it's not even safe to go traveling and sleep in your car or your van or hotels. And it's not because we're protecting our kids just from the 5% that are paedophiles. We're protecting our children from the state that is unlawfully and unnecessarily removing children, that is causing devastation. And then these children are going into foster care. I've had one foster carer be announced that she's now pregnant. Mum and dad are gone mad. No way should these children have been taken from them in the first place. She's gone and got knocked up in foster care, you know. So it's all just crazy, and we need clarity. And the only way we're going to get clarity is together, to come together, to bring some form of what they call a constitution, and literally now just sit down as us, as the people, and say, look, this is who we are, this is our needs, this is our wants. And in order to do that, this is what we're willing to, you know, this is our expectations. So this is our expectations from ourselves, and this is our expectations from us as a community. You know, we say as a community, no, we don't want anyone breaking into our homes. And if anyone does, this is how we're going to deal with it. You know, we don't want anyone coming in over and hitting our child. And if that happens, this is how it's going to work. And no, we don't, you know, do you know what I mean? We have to do this. And then come sort of like next year, you know, we could be really living in a chance of a really beautiful country, like really putting the great back in Britain. If not, mate, then get your fucking passports and get out of here before October 28th. Simple as that, because you ain't going to want to stay here in Britain for what's coming. Many have already left. In fact, Google how many people have abandoned the UK. I'm here to stay. And stepping up Britain, I'm here to see this through. And for everybody that is, let's occupy some land,
and let's start getting some yurts up and start building fruit, veg, and you know, distributing things equally and widely, and fundraising, and you know, making sure that, you know, our whole community is all thriving. And yes, you know, sometimes people do need to be taught the tools, and sometimes people do need to be helped, but it's about enabling, empowering, you know, not criticizing, condemning. It's about constructive criticism, but do you know what I mean? So anyway, guys, peace out and all of that. Peace, love, harmony, prosperity. Love to you all. I'm going to go catch up with the messages. I find it very difficult to do it at the same time, I'm afraid. Yeah, so to everybody that is here, like, much love to you all, and may you receive your blessing, and you know, may you be a blessing, and whatever it is that you do this week, you know, stand firm. You know, some tides might hit you and it's fine, but just know that it doesn't matter, you're strong, and together we're stronger. So I see you all. Hopefully I'll see some of you tonight at 6:30 outside the square. And if you're outside your own squares at 6:30, even better. And it's time to step up, Britain, guys. We really have to. I'm stepping up, so I hope you all step up with me, because if not, I'm going to be on my own. And see you later. Bye. Hello, boy, waking up.